Initially, the casting process for the biggest bundle of them all was shaped by the goal of adding both international appeal and comedic charm to the heist story. Raquel Welch, coming off her breakthrough performance in 1,000,000 Years BC, caught the attention of director Ken Anakin, who felt her bold screen presence would bring energy to the role of Juliana. Welch's audition was memorable, with her spirited delivery and charisma quickly convincing producers she was the right choice. Next, Robert Wagner was eyed for Harry, the ambitious American gangster. Wagner's chemistry tests with Welch were crucial, as the movie needed a believable tension between their characters. During these sessions, Wagner displayed the smooth confidence required, playing off Welch with a mixture of mischief and charm that secured his part. After that, the search for an actor to play Cesare, the aging but stylish local crook, led the team to Vittorio De Sica. De Sica, already famous as an Italian cinema legend, brought gravitas to the cast. His screen test did not require much rehearsal. His reputation and natural flair in front of the camera made him an easy and unanimous choice among the directors and producers. Edward G. Robinson's involvement as the mafia boss was another significant moment. Initially hesitant, Robinson became interested after reading the script's lively, humorous tone. His agent arranged for a meeting, and Robinson's enthusiasm and unique delivery style solidified his inclusion, bringing both a sense of danger and a touch of humor to the film. Rounding out the main group, Godfrey Cambridge provided a comedic lift as Benny. The producers saw his powerful audition, marked by his quick wit, as vital for balancing the dynamic among the characters. Chemistry sessions with the rest of the cast confirmed that Cambridge's humor matched well with the more serious or glamorous energy from his co-stars, making for a strong ensemble. Throughout the casting process, emphasis was placed on both individual talent and ensemble chemistry, with a series of informal rehearsals and readings ensuring the actors could play off each other's energy. The casting team watched for spontaneous moments during auditions and readings, noting the way certain actors could make script lines come alive or adapt quickly when paired with new partners. Small improvisations, especially between Wagner and Welch, helped define their on-screen relationship, while De Sica's natural leadership was evident even off-camera, directing fellow actors in a way that made scenes flow smoothly. These pivotal moments in auditions and chemistry tests shaped the lively, entertaining spirit that defined the final production. Instead of following a gritty or hard-boiled tone, director Ken Anakin brought a vibrant, playful energy to the biggest bundle of them all, inspired by both classic caper comedies and the swinging European cinematic style that was popular in theater late 1960s. He approached the film as a lively adventure, aiming to mix the glamour of old Hollywood with the cheeky humor seen in films like It's a Mad, 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 Mad World. During production, Anakin focused on ensemble chemistry, encouraging the cast, including Raquel Welch and Robert Wagner, to embrace improvisation and physical comedy. He collaborated closely with cinematographer Piero Portalupi to use evocative Italian locations, not just as backdrops, but as vivid characters in the story, ensuring that the setting would contribute to the film's breezy atmosphere. Drawing on his background in comedies and adventure, he favored practical effects and real stunts over studio trickery, adding authenticity to the film's heist scenes. On set, he cultivated a spirit of mischief, often bantering with the actors to draw out their most playful performances. He also drew inspiration from European capers like Top Copy, which is evident in the intricate plotting and the stylish, gadget-laden set pieces. Through these choices, Anakin created a movie that embraced the era's colorful fashion and upbeat music, balancing action with light-hearted character moments. Back in 1968, the biggest bundle of them all hit theaters with its mix of crime and comedy, featuring stars like Raquel Welch, Robert Wagner, and Vittorio De Sica. The plot is about a group of small-time crooks in Naples attempting to pull off a huge heist, But nothing goes quite as planned. The slapstick antics and wild situations make for some truly funny moments. But there is also plenty of tension and unexpected twists that can be both shocking and a little sad. Sometimes it's easy to forget just how creative and energetic movies from this era could be, especially with a cast that throws themselves into ridiculous capers and narrow escapes. When was the first time you watched this movie? For me, the first viewing was on a rainy Sunday afternoon, an old VHS tape found in a dusty box. It brought some real laughs and a sense of nostalgia for a time when movies didn't take themselves too seriously. One scene that stuck with me was the car chase through the narrow streets. Not because it was high action, but because it showed that even a group of amateurs could find their way into and out of trouble with a bit of luck and lots of chaos. That moment made me think about teamwork and how sometimes, even when nothing goes right, you can still make it out with a good story to tell. Can you share a personal story of how this movie has inspired or impacted your own life? There are so many funny, shocking, and sad facts ahead, so keep watching this video to discover more about what went on behind the scenes and how the movie left its mark. What is your most cherished memory or personal experience related to the biggest bundle of them all? We would love to hear your stories and memories in the comments below. Right from the start, filming the biggest bundle of them all in 1968 meant embracing the sun-soaked glamour of southern Italy, with much of the production set in and around Naples and other picturesque towns. The crew worked on real locations, setting up elaborate scenes inside active train yards and bustling city streets, rather than using studio sets, to capture an authentic European atmosphere that added excitement and realism to the heist story. Local architecture and aged train cars became both the movie's backdrop and part of the scene's physical action. Weather was sometimes unpredictable, and this delayed shoots or forced the team to rethink schedules, often working long hours to match lighting for interior and exterior shots. Extensive cooperation with Italian authorities was needed since the film used stretches of railway, requiring careful choreography of both actors and real trains. The train heist centerpiece demanded several innovative stunts for the time, including mounting special camera rigs onto moving vehicles to follow chase and escape scenes more closely. Sometimes hidden tracks had to be laid or props altered to appear as if trains were crashing, which involved coordination between the crew, cast, and railway engineers. The production also relied on a mix of American and European filmmaking talent, bridging language barriers as people worked side by side and took cues from both Hollywood and Italian film traditions. This mix brought new approaches to lighting and camera work, including experimenting with mobile cameras that enable dynamic movement through crowded scenes, creating chaotic crowd moments and comic action. Director Ken Anakin used multiple cameras to catch genuine reactions and sometimes allowed extras to improvise, lending spontaneity to the movie's big set pieces. Overall, the blend of location shoots, practical effects, and flexible directing styles shaped a lively, rough-edged visual style that stands apart from studio-based comedies of the era. Despite the promise offered by its star-studded cast, the 1968 film about an unlikely group of would-be criminals struggles to find its comedic footing. On paper, the setup is ripe for an entertaining caper Robert Wagner, alongside the glamorous Raquel Welch, partners with Godfrey Cambridge, Davy Kaye, and Francesco Mulè, to kidnap a retired gangster played by Vittorio de Sica. The twist that de Sica's character can't pay his own ransom and ends up guiding his kidnappers into a convoluted platinum heist brings some intrigue to the plot. However, opinions are divided on whether these ingredients are successfully blended. Some viewers are left disappointed by the film's inability to draw genuine laughter, especially given the impressive talent on display. De Sica, a celebrated actor and director, seems subdued, not delivering the lively performance audiences might hope for. Wagner's attempt at anchoring the film feels stilted to some, as though he is out of his element amid the chaotic story. While Raquel Welch certainly garners attention, particularly during scenes that showcase her in a bikini, the consensus among several reviewers is that her role largely prioritizes appearance over substance, especially compared to her later come de success in other films. Nevertheless, others find value in the film's elaborate heist sequence, which is executed with a degree of craft that stands apart from the sluggish pace of the preceding scenes. The movie attempts to channel the energy of big ensemble comedies of its era, drawing comparisons to more successful examples of the genre, which thrived thanks to expertly timed comic performances and dynamic chemistry. Here the humor seems to falter, with much of the action feeling forced or uninspired, leaving some feeling as though the film's comedic potential remains unrealized. The direction by Ken Anakin brings together visually interesting locations and a sprawling narrative, but this does little to offset what some describe as a slow-moving plot that fails to build momentum. Still, the film's nostalgic charm and the allure of seeing well-known faces from the 1960s on screen together offer a certain appeal for viewers who appreciate the style and atmosphere of the period. There is recognition that the film tries to engage with the playful, over-the-top spirit characteristic of many large-cast comedies of the decade. While it may not generate consistent laughter or hold up as a comedic gem when measured against its contemporaries, for those interested in the genre or the era, there remains enjoyment to be found in its ambitious, if uneven, attempt to deliver a light-hearted caper doff. From the earliest moments of the biggest bundle of them all, the score by composer Riz Ortolani sets a lively and mischievous mood that matches the film's breezy crime comedy spirit. With a bright, jazzy main theme, Ortolani taps into the swinging vibe of the late 1960s, using brassy instruments and energetic rhythms that echo the character's anxious humor and the wild plan unfolding on screen. Throughout the movie, the music changes to reflect both the playful banter between the would-be thieves and the more chaotic moments of their misadventures. For the scene set in Italy, Ortolani weaves in light Mediterranean flavors, acoustic guitars, mandolins, and lively percussion, bringing in the local color and culture. The film's soundtrack also features the catchy pop tune, Biggest Bundle of Them All, whose peppy chorus echoes the thieves' optimistic dreams, sung by Johnny Mathis, who was known for his gentle yet expressive voice. Musicians involved with the recordings often spoke about how much fun it was to work on this kind of upbeat score, saying that Ortolani's music gave them freedom to play around and add a bit of mischief to their performances. This playful approach is easy for viewers to catch in the more whimsical chase scenes, where the tempo lifts and the melodies become more frantic. At more suspenseful points, Ortolani uses strings and muted brass to add tension, but he never lets the music get too dark, keeping the overall feeling light. This careful balance keeps the audience relaxed and entertained, even when things get a bit risky for the characters. The soundtrack became a classic for fans of 60s capers, remembered not just for its catchy tunes, but for the way it highlights every twist and turn of the story, making music an invisible character in the world of the film. Instead of following the expected formula for heist comedies, this film builds a connection to wider entertainment history through its cast. Edward G. Robinson holds significance for more than just his on-screen role, as he previously served as a jury member at the Cannes Film Festival in the early 1950s, showing the reach his influence had in international cinema. Meanwhile, Godfrey Cambridge brings humor by playing a violin piece tied directly to comedian Jack Benny. This inside joke relies on Benny's well-known comic routine, where he pretended to play the Rodolphe Kreutzer violin exercise poorly, all while being a skilled musician in real life. The audience familiar with Benny's signature gag would recognize the reference, adding a layer of humor that makes use of the performer's real-life talents and public persona. Alongside this, Robert Wagner connects the film to later generations through his unexpected link with Michael Weatherly, who portrayed Wagner in a biographical drama about Natalie Wood's life, later acted with Wagner again when they played a father-son duo on the television series NCIs. These casting details offer points of interest that extend outside the plot, linking well-known figures in entertainment across several decades. Opening with a crisp heist scene, the biggest bundle of them all sets the tone with clever direction that combines humor and tension. The camera work masterfully captures the nervous energy of the crew as they prepare, pulling viewers into the moment without needing fancy effects. Robert Wagner's performance as the lead thief is a mix of charm and wit, keeping the audience rooting for his success despite the shady nature of his plans. Close-ups highlight his sly smiles and subtle gestures, showing his character's confident but playful side. Later, the cocktail party sequence stands out not just for its slick cinematography, but also for how it contrasts the glamorous setting with the underlying scheme. The director skillfully shifts between light-hearted shots and tight framing during critical dialogue, heightening suspense. Filmmaker commentary reveals how the intention was to balance comedy and crime genres, something actors found exciting as it allowed room for improvisation, enhancing the authentic feel. The chemistry between Wagner and co-stars during these iconic moments offers a natural rhythm that keeps the pacing engaging for viewers. These scenes together leave a lasting impression by mixing laughs with thrills, making audiences both smile and hold their breath. At the time of production, Robert Wagner joined the cast thanks to an arrangement with Universal, highlighting how studios often loaned actors for specific roles during this period. Raquel Welch, known for her on-screen presence, later teamed up with Christopher Lee in 4 separate films following her work here. These projects stretched across genres from comedies to adventure movies and spanned several years after this film's release. In one pivotal scene, Professor Samuels, played by Edward G. Robinson, presents an ounce of platinum and shares its value as 95. This price reflects the economic realities of the 1960s, as the same weight of platinum is valued at about $760 in 2021, showcasing shifts in market prices over decades. The plot mixes crime and comedy, centering on an ambitious group planning a heist in Italy. The setting includes Italian city streets, vintage cars, and a series of mishaps as the gang tries to achieve their goal. Much of the humor stems from the mismatched crew, who often find themselves in chaotic situations. The film's cast is rounded out by actors like Vittorio de Sica, providing a blend of American and Italian talent that reflects the trend of international productions during the era. Themes of greed, teamwork, and miscommunication move the story along, while the fast-paced events keep the viewer engaged. The film's music and style are typical of late 1960s cinema, mixing jazzy scores with lively editing and location filming around Naples. Characters often find themselves out of their depth, leading to unexpected turns and slapstick moments, which remain a hallmark of this kind of light crime caper. Looking back at the late 1960s, the biggest bundle of them all arrived during a time of social change and unrest, which made its blend of crime and comedy especially appealing. Audiences were watching a world in flux, marked by shifting values, especially around issues like authority, youth culture, and a challenge to traditional rules. The film's story follows a group of small-time crooks and misfits as they hatch an ambitious kidnapping and heist, but everything plays out with a kind of cheerful absurdity, poking fun at both criminals and the law. This light-hearted take on crime capers reflected how many people felt about established norms at the time. Skeptical, ready to laugh at the system, and drawn to stories featuring unlikely heroes. The presence of popular actors like Raquel Welch and Robert Wagner helped the movie get attention, particularly among younger viewers who saw in it a playful rebellion against the old order. In the broader pop culture scene, the movie fits into the trend of swinging, stylish caper films that celebrated wit over violence, glamour over grit, and improvisation over planning. Though not as famous as some other heist films from later years, it captured the mood of a generation pushing away from solemn dramas and looking for entertainment that mixed fun and social commentary. Its high-spirited tone, international setting, and jazzy soundtrack echoed the optimism and experimental mood of its time. The story never tries for deep social critiques, but in making fun of greed and incompetence, it quietly mirrored popular doubts about authority and the supposed purity of big business or law enforcement. By putting bumbling outsiders at the center, the film made room for viewers to see themselves as clever underdogs, not only worthy of rooting for, but also capable of outsmarting the supposedly powerful. This playful, irreverent approach influenced later movies in the genre, paving the way for lighter heist stories, while reminding audiences that during uncertain times, laughter and small victories could be just as meaningful as big speeches or grave messages about change. Right from the start, the plot is set in motion when Celli is abducted in a rare 1956 Imperial Crown limousine, a model so unique that only 175 were ever by a lieutenant. This vehicle later fetched nearly $150,000 at a 2015 auction, showing its appeal among collectors and car enthusiasts. During filming, Edward G. Robinson brings a legacy as one of cinema's iconic tough guys, but off-set, his personality stood in contrast to his screen image. He was known as a calm, artistic, and reserved man who gained the respect and admiration of peers in the industry. Robinson's career highlights include notable collaborations with Joan Bennett in two respected film noir productions, The Woman in the Window and Scarlet Street from the mid-1940s. These films added depth to his reputation for taking roles that often depicted hard-edged characters, even though many who worked with him knew him for his sensitivity and gentle demeanor. His performance in this film draws on this background, lending weight and credibility to his role while providing viewers with a subtle connection to his past work. The combination of a remarkable car and the presence of seasoned actors shapes the unique flavor of this mid-century caper, offering a mix of style, history, and understated performances that reflect the era's movie-making ethos. Despite its star-studded cast, including Raquel Welch, Robert Wagner, and Edward G. Robinson, the biggest bundle of them all received mixed to negative reviews from critics upon its release in 1968. While some praised its attempts at light-hearted caper comedy and noted the energetic performances, many reviewers found the humor forced and the plot overly complicated without real payoff. Audiences were attracted by the allure of big names and a flashy European setting, but word of mouth suggested that the film didn't quite deliver on its promise of laughs or suspense. Major film critics of the time described it as forgettable entertainment, with some even calling it slow-paced and lacking the spark typical of successful heist comedies. In terms of awards, the film was entirely overlooked, receiving no nominations from the Academy Awards, Golden Globes, or other notable bodies, which further reflected its lukewarm reception. For the actors involved, it was a colorful line on a diverse resume. Raquel Welch continued to be a popular on-screen presence, and Robinson's legacy was unaffected by this late career detour. Director Ken Anakin saw the film as a lesser entry in his long list of works, while for audiences today, the film is mostly remembered as a curiosity offering a glimpse at 1960s glamour, rather than as a celebrated piece of cinema. During the filming of the biggest bundle of them all in Naples, the energy on set was unforgettable. Raquel Welch, already a rising star, drew attention every time she appeared, whether she was in costume for the film or relaxing between takes. One day, the crew set up a crucial heist scene in the bustling city, but controlling the crowds proved difficult. Lieutenant locals wanted to catch a glimpse of Robert Wagner, Vittorio de Sica, and the rest of the cast. De Sica, who was both acting and helping behind the camera, charmed everyone with his quick wit, often breaking into song or telling stories in Italian that had the crew laughing. Meanwhile, Edward G. Robinson, a Hollywood legend, ended up giving impromptu acting tips to younger cast members during long breaks, reminiscing about his early gangster roles and sharing stories from decades earlier. The hot Italian sun often made shooting uncomfortable, and the cast found themselves improvising ways to stay cool, like dipping their feet in buckets of cold water or using umbrellas as makeshift shade. Sometimes the organized chaos led to mishaps, such as a scene where the getaway car actually stalled, leaving the actors stranded and laughing in the middle of a busy street while onlookers cheered them on. Despite language barriers and occasional misunderstandings between the Italian and American crew members, everyone bonded over shared meals and late-night conversations. On several evenings, locals invited the entire team to enjoy homemade pasta and wine, turning workdays into mini-celebrations and keeping everyone's spirits high. Meanwhile, as time moves farther from the 1968 release of the biggest bundle of them all, its influence in film history remains more modest than that of other comedy capers from the era, yet it carries a certain charm representative of its time. Featuring Raquel, Welch, and Robert Wagner, the movie tried to mix the glamour and playful schemes of European crime capers with Hollywood shine, tapping into the trend started by films like The Italian Job and the Pink Panther series. Despite not achieving major critical or box office success, the film's noticeable nods to the swinging 60s, such as eye-catching fashion, lively music, and a light-hearted tone, paint a lively picture of the decade's populist cinema. It did not spawn sequels or direct imitations, yet its style captures how Hollywood studios chased after the global success of heist comedies. Directors and writers in later years sometimes looked back at its playful approach, particularly its light treatment of crime and colorful character ensembles, as they crafted their own crime comedies. The biggest bundle of them all stands as a reminder of a transitional period, bridging old-school slapstick with the more stylish and cynical crime stories that would emerge in the 70s. While it did not leave a bold mark on filmmaking, its blend of glamour, humor, and ensemble antics is still appreciated by fans who seek the fun-filled spirit of lesser-known 60s cinema. Still, so many people have their own special memories of the biggest bundle of them all, whether it was the surprising twists, the lively soundtrack, or the star power of Raquel Welch and Robert Wagner. Maybe watching the crew bundle their way through that wild heist made you laugh out loud, or brought back memories of the colorful films of the late 60s. Some might even recall how seeing Italy as a backdrop reminded them of travel dreams or sparked curiosity about other cultures displayed on the big screen back then. Over the years, this offbeat crime comedy often inspired viewers to appreciate the lighter side of the heist genre, showing that not every story about master criminals needs to be slick or serious. For some, it could have been the first time they saw a movie that mixed comedy with suspense. Or maybe it challenged ideas about what made a good film in a time when filmmakers were stretching the limits of style and storytelling. If this movie has stayed with you or shaped how you think about comedies or caper films, it's a great time to share your own stories and memories in the comments. Reflect on how it changed your view of movies from that era, or simply recall your favorite moments. If you enjoyed this conversation, or want to connect with others who love these retro classics, go ahead and like, subscribe, or share with friends who might have their own stories too.